The whole ball of wax at L'EntrepreneurAcademy.com is a $4,000 value, and it's yours for only $1,499. But when you apply the code SPRINGRUSH at checkout, all one word, Spring Rush, we will take another $300 off. That's $4,000 of resources for less than $1,200. This special discount ends April 30th.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here hanging with you guys, and welcome back to the show. Today, guys, we have a young guest on line one. Super excited about bringing this stud on and showing you guys a little bit about what he has going on. So, Noah, good morning, man. Welcome to the show. How you doing today?
Good morning. Doing great. Super excited for this week. It's spring break here. And we're excited to crush it this week.
Heck yeah, man. So are you running down to Florida or Mexico, or are you staying back at home? And what do you got going on, bud?
Unfortunately, not this year. We just got a new puppy at the house, so we're staying back to take care of him, and then as well as getting some work done this week. Nice.
Well, that's probably the wiser approach, if I can say that, especially with you young guys out there, doing what is the saying? Observe the masses and do the opposite. So you're probably making some good choices there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, thanks for taking time to be on the show. We're recording this over the weekend, actually, which is typically when I record a bunch of my podcasts, because that's usually when us guests, that I get from you guys are available. And so, which is totally fine. Normally during the week, we're all in the field, slaying dragons, going 100 miles an hour. You guys know the deal. So really quick, before we go into it, man, give these guys like the 2 or so minute highlight reel, I like to call it. Tell them where you're from, what you got going on, how old you are, and we'll kind of break some things down today.
All right, sure. So my name is Noah Balice. I am in the west suburbs of Chicago here, and I own a company called Distinct Outdoor Living. I'm 17 years old. So we specialize mainly in landscape installs and designs. We've been doing mowing for the past 2 to 3 years, and recently we've been starting to get out of it, still kind of maintaining a small weekly route of about 20 to 30 mowing customers to keep my guys busy.
Okay.
With more focusing on the more softscape installs as well as landscape lighting installs in the Chicagoland area here.
Dude, that's awesome. That's really, really cool. And by the way, you said 17, right? The mic didn't cut out?
Yes.
Okay.
No, 17.
It's crazy. Before we hit record, I said, dude, you're 17. I'm like, I've lived twice as much life as you. Like, I'm like, dude, I'm getting old, bro. Like,
it's crazy to think about.
It is, man. There's people that collect cars that are as old as me and as old as you that are worth 3 times what they were when they came out. It's
yeah, you're gonna have to start some sort of collection pretty soon here, stamps or bells or something.
Man, I'm gonna be collecting something. Yeah, you're right. I need to get like some old belt buckles or something. I don't know. Like, I think it's when you start getting old, you start like having weird hobbies like that. But I'm just trying to collect cash. So that's my weird. That's my weird hobby, So I love it, man. Well, okay, so I got to know you actually from Christian with CNI, and we actually went over there. What did we do? A teenager tour, right, last summer? And then, gosh.
Yeah, you were over doing a video with him, and you mentioned it, and asked if I want to come grab breakfast with you guys. So
yeah. Where did we go to eat? That place was pretty good.
It was I think Yaya's over in Hinsdale.
Okay. Yeah, you tell me. I don't know. It was good food though, man. And I think all we did was talk crap to each other for an hour and a half. But
pretty much.
it was a good time, man, hanging out with you guys. And then I got to do a couple of videos with Christian with his teenager story. We did a summer tour for a lot of you young guys listening in, and you love that series. We did 6 tours across the state and a couple different states, showing how to start a lawn care business for the teenagers out there, the 13 to 18 crowd. And that playlist is on YouTube. I mean, it's a banger. I mean, I'm so impressed with not only the kids that were on there and what you guys all said and do and did, but just like the impact it's making out there, encouraging the next generation. And we could have easily turned to and said, hey, let's film your stuff and your setup and your equipment. And but we were just obviously getting to know each other. But a lot has been changing in your life, man. You got things just jamming like crazy. So Give me a quick snapshot. Like, what are you guys doing day to day? You said a little bit less of mowing every day, but what's the day to day look like? How many guys do you have working for you? And we'll kind of just get into it.
Sure. So this spring we have, I believe, 5 landscape installations, like design installs on the board. So we've got 5 designs queued up for pretty much a full installs. One of them's at a new construction home over here. We're coming and kind of redoing the whole backyard. There's 2 patios going in there. Those I am subcontracting out to a local landscaper who does more like hardscaping, because we don't have the equipment to do that right now and just wouldn't be efficient at it.
Okay.
But we're doing all the landscaping there. We're doing stone in the beds instead of mulch, and then lighting throughout about 25 light fixtures at that job. So that's kind of what we're doing more of. And then as well as we still have about 30 cleanups to do in the next couple of weeks before we start doing all those installs and some mulch installs, and then as well as just mowing about 30 houses a week.
Wow, that's crazy. And then how many guys do you have working for you?
So it kind of depends on the season, since we're all still in school at the moment, but
Sure.
Typically in the spring we'll have about 3 to 5 guys, just kind of depending on the project that we're doing. Usually I'll send 2 or 3 guys off to go mow, and then me and 2 or 3 guys will kind of stay back and work on whatever projects we're doing that weekend or day.
Dude, that's awesome. That's legit, man. Well, let's do this really quick. I'm going to take a quick sip of my Tim Hortons. We're going to hear from today's show sponsors and announcements. I want to hear a little bit more about how you guys are breaking down these landscape jobs and how you're juggling both a mow, route and a mow crew, and then also a landscape crew. So, guys, this episode is not sponsored by Tim Hortons Coffee, but if they ever did want to send some coffee and or a compensatory check, I think that's what Caleb Baldwin says, they can send it to our P.O. box. But the Timmy Hoes, man, I love their coffee. It's great. Liz got a little DoorDash this morning, so I'm going to take a quick sip of coffee, get a little bit more juice in here, and we will come right on back.
When it comes to running a lawn and landscape business, there's always something to worry about. Are my drivers and crews doing their job? Are my clients happy? Are my trucks and machines safe? How can I make more money? Where can I save some money? With GPS Track It, you don't have to worry about it, because our software gives you a level of clarity and control over your business that you've never had. From real-time vehicle and asset tracking and optimized routing to efficiency reports and more, reach your fullest business potential. Call 866-845-1410 or visit gpstrackit.com/BrianLM to get started. That phone number and special link are in the show description. GPS Track It.
All right, Noah, so we are going right back to you, my friend. So break it down for me, man. Like 17, you got the landscape guys out there, you got some mow crew guys out there, you got 2 spinning plates, 2 oars in the water. First off, before we even go down that question, like, when did you get started doing all this, man? Because you're only 17, and how do you know to do all this? Like, what's your story? Is it, the good old I was 13 and just trying to make some extra cash, or break it down for me, man?
So I guess it kind of started when I was in 5th grade, just kind of mowing a next door neighbor. My parents just kind of suggested the idea just because my next door neighbor wasn't happy with his mowing guy. I was like, okay, sure, whatever. Went over there with my dad's lawnmower, did that for about a year. It was fine. I was making $20 a week as a 5th grader. So I was at 10 or 11 years old. So that was nice.
Yeah.
And then it kind of started another neighbor. And then I think in 8th grade, I was up to about 4 or 5 neighbors, just mowing them every week. And then I think I was doing just kind of like little fall cleanups, just kind of like raking leaves and stuff in the fall. And then in 2020 with COVID, I kind of decided that like this is actually something that I could actually do in like high school and like make good money with. So I started offering more services. We did like spring cleanups, mulch and stuff like that. 2020 was the first year we did a mulch job for somebody else. And it kind of spun from there because, my parents have been in love with landscaping in our own house just ever since I was young. So I was always slinging mulch in my own house and digging holes and putting in plants and stuff like that. So I kind of knew exactly what I was doing, and my dad guided me with everything. And as I just kept going, I just kept learning new things from either online or from people in the industry, just local guys to me. It just kind of spun from there, I guess. And we started this past year. We did our first install, and it was overwhelming at first, but I've done the same thing at my house because I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. We just kind of updated everything in my house because it was getting old, 15 years.
Sure.
Perennials start to die. So we replaced everything in my house. My parents actually have a landscape designer that we've used as kind of freelance since we moved into our house about 20 years ago. She used to work for a company and she's retired. And so she's kind of been doing some freelance designs for me, which has been amazing just because her designs are nothing like anyone over here, just because she's been doing it for 35 years. And all the guys around here are just kind of getting into it and just did a couple of horticulture classes and now are self-proclaimed designers. So that's helping us out for sure, just because her designs are setting us apart due to the complexity and stuff of them.
Wow. So okay, so you were 15, 16, in COVID, years and all that mess. And so the last 2 years, things obviously have taken off for you. What made you decide to turn it into a business? You said it was good money, but were you like, hey, this is what I want to do for a living? Is this like a in-between thing? No right or wrong answer. Are you going the college route? Where are you taking things from here?
Sure. So I plan to go to college next year, get a business degree. I was grateful enough to get some really nice scholarships from a local university, so it's really not a financial burden at all. So that definitely helps it out.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And also be staying local, so I'll be able to keep everything running as usual, and hopefully my schedule should be a little bit lesser than high school, so I'll have some more time on my hands, which is great. But I guess, continue to expand. I'll be working with a local company just a day or two this summer, doing specifically like hardscape installs and everything like that, just so I can better verse myself and just learn how to do that from the company and foreman themselves. So that's kind of what I see myself doing in the next couple of years, is shifting more into hardscape installs and stuff like that, while still keeping a nice maintenance route, just because I do enjoy that, and it's like having that on my belt as well.
Dude, that's awesome. So what are some things you've learned along the way? I mean, if you're running this business now for a couple of years, what's some things that you've learned along the way that you didn't know getting into it, or some things that have really helped you to go to the next level these last couple of years?
Sure. I think the biggest thing is just accepting the fact that you can't get every single job, and that no matter how amazing you think your quote is or how great you think your price compared to others, that it still won't matter for some people, and there's just nothing you can do about that. You just gotta keep chugging along and move on to the next person. Because I think at first I was pretty first couple of jobs where they were like, "Oh no, like we're gonna go with someone else." I was pretty discouraged about it, and now it's just like whatever. Like, okay,
life goes on.
You gotta move on. Exactly. So I think that was learning how to kind of accept that and not take it personally, and not like take it as like a personal degradation of like myself, and like, oh, they don't like my quote, they don't like me. Like, no, it has nothing to do with that. It's that's always someone that can do it cheaper. That's a
solid tip, man. Like, don't take that rejection personally. It's like, because we're so vested in our businesses, right? And if you're an owner operator, like, you are the business is you. And they're like, what do you mean you don't want to go with my quote? Like, you would have me. I'm the best ever. I mean, and if you don't have that attitude, like, that's a good one to have. Like, what do you mean you're not going to go with me? I can do this better than anybody. I mean, that's that belief you got to have out there when you're slaying dragons over here. And, you're adopting that at 16, 17, years old. That's super cool, man. What else have you learned through the whole bidding process with landscape jobs now that you're getting more under your belt?
So the biggest thing in how we scored this one pretty big job that we're doing this year is we were just able to take, so a lot of the companies around us, the more like established ones, and one of the ones that I'll be working for, they're booked out through the whole summer. So the fact that we were able to come in and get this done for them in April, really, one, I'm sure we were a little bit lower than the other company just because our overhead isn't nearly what theirs is.
Okay.
So naturally we can be, but also the fact that I was there, I was personable, I'm going to be the guy on the job site every day and not sitting in the office kind of calling the crews every hour to see how it's going. So that also probably helped me a little bit. And then also the fact that we're going to get this done in April for them. They're not going to have to wait till the end of the summer. So I'm sure they're happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, how are you? You said you got a couple guys working for you. So what is your split schedule-wise for the mow guys, and then you with the landscape crew? Do you have a good right-hand guy that's taking the mow crew out, or how are you balancing both?
Yeah, so typically with our mow crew, we're so close to my house and so dense. We have about 25 to 30 yards within 3/4 of a mile from my home.
That's awesome. So that's awesome.
To be honest with you, they just take out our V-Ride, and I have a little trailer attached to that, and pull a 30-inch Toro with a blower and everything on it. So that's been awesome because we only have one truck. So they just go out and do their own thing, and they'll be back in a couple hours. So typically they mow 2 to 3 days a week after school for like 3 to 4 hours.
Oh, okay.
That's how we do mowing. Get that done during the week typically if it doesn't rain. And then on the weekends we save that time for installs, or if right now we're doing cleanups and mulch. So cleanups and mulch.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you're out there with the landscape guys. You got a couple good buddies. How do you trust other 15, 16, 17-year-olds? I mean, dude, like the hard part is even selling customers to go with you because you're 17. And then then you got to be like, hey, by the way, my friend Tyler is going to show up and he's 16. Like, I don't know. Like as a homeowner, I'm like, man, that's like some liability. You know, I'm just kidding. But how do you navigate that? Or is everybody pretty cool with it? I don't know.
So I don't think we've had any, I guess, issues as far as like customers saying anything about it, just because when they're hiring me, generally they know. But
yeah,
as far as getting, like, I just met with a couple on Friday we're doing a full front tear out and install at their home, getting ready to get the design. So I ended up getting a deposit from them, but at first I could tell they were a little bit skeptical. So I came in and made like a nice presentation of some work we did last year with some nice before and after pictures. I brought in a couple of the designs that we have already got jobs for this spring to kind of show them like what their end product of a design is going to look like. And then just kind of sitting there and explaining the fact that we're not doing these like cookie cutter. In my area, we have a lot of new construction homes, and they pretty much look pretty similar to each other. Yeah. So you can imagine the front landscaping is also pretty similar. Mm-hmm. So kind of just explaining the fact that we're not producing these like cookie cutter front yards and stuff, and instilling the confidence that their yard's going to be distinct from their neighbors. So that kind of held me, but going into this meeting with them, this was a client that called me actually off a door hanger, which was amazing. They had never reached out before. So typically most of my clients that I do installs for have been kind of doing maintenance work for them for 1 to 2 years. They don't have to sell myself to them just because they're already aware of what we do. Whereas this meeting was a little bit different just because they had no idea who I was. And I think they just saw that I was confident in myself and that I was confident in my work. And I think that really shined through. And in the end, it ended up working out. So,
dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I feel you, man. Like, it's so much easier to upsell a current customer than sometimes to sell a new customer, right? So a lot of people are like, well, I'm going to start marketing and I'm going to start passing out door hangers or yard signs. And I'm like, hey, like, why don't you, in sales, they call it like a cold call or a warm client or a hot prospect. Like, why don't you go after the warm leads and the hot prospects first, which are, your current clientele list? And instead of like spending $1, $2, $3 on marketing, and by the way, you're still allowed to do that. You're still allowed to keep, the like you said, keep the schedule filled up, a couple months out or a year out. But if you already got 10 clients, 20 clients, 80 clients, 200 clients, just send an internal email, text message, or reach out to your current clientele and say, hey, we got some room on the schedule for landscape, renos. Would you guys be interested in a refresh? And if you sent that out to 50 customers, I guarantee you'll get 3 to 4 people that would say, yeah, actually, we would like to get this all ripped out. And it'd be, I don't know, what's the average size job for you guys? Like probably 3 to 10 grand, maybe?
Yeah, rough for installs, roughly in that range.
Okay. Yeah. And one quick email, with MailChimp or whatever you guys use, that's what we use. You could drum up $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in new business without even passing out a yard sign, and not only that, letting them know that you offer, additional services too, like aerations or overseeding or shrub pruning or whatever, Dude, that's awesome. Let me ask you this really quick. Cause your business's name, let me go back to my notepad here. It is Distinct Outdoor Living. Okay. So that's not a typical name for a company for a 17-year-old. Normally it's like, Noah's Lawn Care, and that's fine. That's cool if that's your business's name. Like, no shade. Like, that's how mine's Brian's All Maintenance. Like, not the most fancy name in the world, but it seems like you're thinking way ahead. Like, you could go almost anywhere with that name, from high-end residential construction, commercial construction, to snow and ice management, because it's outdoor living, outdoor, anything like that. So what got you going down that rabbit hole or that trail? Like, where are you learning this info is what I'm asking. Like, are you on social media? Are you listening to people on YouTube and podcasts? Like, what's helped you get this far?
So first I'll touch on the name. We rebranded over the winter, and I used to be known as Noah's Landscaping. So
okay. Ironically enough, there you go.
That's funny. Yeah. So we rebranded over the winter into Distinct Outdoor Living. I just actually got my new logo, which you guys can see on Instagram, back from the design company about a week ago.
Well, congratulations, man. Breaking news. Yeah, congratulations. I didn't know that.
So that was exciting just because it was kind of I was spending the whole winter coming. I came up with a name around January, and then I was like kind of going back and forth between like distinct like outdoor creation, like just all the adjectives and everything for kind of what I wanted to land on. So that whole just naming process is definitely a big project over the winter. But
oh yeah,
I went that route just because I see myself kind of doing more like full backyard, like $100,000 plus projects in the future, like full backyard transformations with patios, pergolas, lighting, sound, everything. So that's kind of why I went that route, just so I can grow into the name. But as far as learning how I like what to do and how to do that, my dad and his cousin have kind of helped me a lot with that. My dad's cousin is in HR. She works for a pretty large corporation and does PR management.
Okay.
So she's just great with kind of like knowing people's feelings and how to communicate best with people and what people are attracted to and stuff like that. So she helped me a lot with just coming up with a name and kind of landing on a name that I think I'll be able to grow into, as well as just kind of still be good with now, because obviously we're not doing patios and stuff like that.
Dude, that's so cool, man. That's so cool.
Yeah. And then I guess too, just kind of looking at what other companies are doing in the area and what their names are, and what I would like to, what companies I would like to emulate, I guess, in the future, and kind of what their names are, what their logo looks like, what their website looks like, and obviously not replicating that, but kind of doing something within the same realm, so you kind of get that same feel.
Dude, that's awesome. Now, was this something that your friend helped you decide on, or more like dial it in and you were thinking, hey, this is where I want to go? Like, how did you come up with the name?
So I was throwing around adjectives like the whole fall. I was thinking like brilliant, premier, which we kind of already have a couple of companies with premier in the name around here. Thinking like adjectives like first class, like all things like that. Eventually I somehow landed on distinct, and then she kind of helped me dial in the outdoor living parts, because at first I was thinking like outdoor construction, but no, we're not doing outdoor construction, we're doing hardscape. So
right.
That part she kind of helped me dial in a little bit more, just so I wasn't just putting myself only into hardscaping, but also I don't want to be distinct landscaping, because I want to be that guy that you kind of call to do the whole backyard, not just fix the lawn in the front or cut the grass or do an aeration.
Yeah. There's definitely a distinction too. There you go, wordplay. But there's definitely a distinction between doing a landscape patio for a renovation for $2,000 to $5,000, $10,000, and putting in a $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, $200,000 outdoor living space. You know, that's entirely different conversation. So when you we have in our book, I don't know if you guys had a chance to pick up our book, but we wrote a book called 0 to 100K, and I spent probably a whole chapter, if I'm not mistaken, on just picking the right name, colors, fonts, you know, like thinking about where do you want to take the company, like beginning with the end in mind. And it's such a important topic when you're trying to pick a name that we dedicated a whole chapter to it. And I would encourage people to spend more time on the front end thinking about this kind of stuff. Like, I was talking to many people about this whole conversation, but my friend Dylan Stevenson with Solo Cuts, he's now Brilliant Gardens. And I was talking to Mike Garvey with the Side Hustle podcast. And he was like, me and him were actually, I was having this conversation more with Mike, but even with Dylan, nonetheless, how many hours went into Launchpreneur Academy or Fullerton Unfiltered, you know, like all these little micro brands, all these little things. And people are like, oh, you just come up with a name, bro, in like 10 minutes or less. It's like, no, dude, like the best names, the best logos, the best slogans. It's not like untypical or atypical, whatever the statement is, like to put 10, 20, 50, 100 hours into your business's name. So did you have like a yellow legal pad? You were like probably sketching all these different names out and just going through the list?
Yeah, pretty much, to be honest with you. And it really took me the whole winter. I just landed on it about a month and a half ago. And then I started doing the logo process and stuff, which kind of stunk just because we're cutting it close to the season. I'm just getting like new shirt and hat and hoodie orders in this week. So we won't have them for this week, unfortunately, but in a few weeks, hopefully here we'll get that all in. But it was definitely a process. I just kept going back and forth. And especially with the logo, like you were talking about fonts and colors, that was a whole 2-week process too. Just kind of, oh, let me see what this font would look like or this color would look like. And then you send them an email, they get back to you in a few days and you think about it for a few days and back and forth. So
yeah,
I finally think I did land on something that I like. And we have a couple different like color options, I guess, with the logo. There's like a white version, a black version, and like a green and black version. So
sure.
I was happy with that, but it's definitely a process.
Dude, that's awesome. No, dude, that warms my heart, man. I'm excited for you, and I can't wait to see as things materialize. You know, that it's just one thing I want to encourage you guys. Like, it's okay to spend time and money on trying to figure out a great name and a color scheme and where do you want to go. And if you guys are taking notes on any of this stuff ever, or you can just maybe jot something down in your notepad really quick, this would be a good one. It's called your value proposition, right? Like, you guys hear me say all the time on the podcast, it's about lawns, lessons, life. And in 2023, it's about real, authentic lawn care. And if you go to the YouTube channel, it's, hey guys, our channel is all about helping you grow a more successful lawn and landscaping business so you guys can go out there and crush it, right? Like LawnPreneurAcademy.com, where you can learn how to start, grow, and run a successful lawn care business, right? Like these are like when people stumble upon you, they know who that you are and if it resonates with them. Because when you're picking a name or a slogan or some colors, you know, whatnot, basically you're trying to answer the question like, who are you? Why should I care? And why should I care quickly? Okay, like if you're ever trying to do your branding and your marketing, guys, just give you a quick little insider trading tip here. It's who are you? Why should I care? And why should I care quickly? And I've spent hundreds of hours trying to figure this stuff out for my content, for my business, for my life. Like Liz and I have our second YouTube channel, building it together. Like we're building it together. It is all things, our life, our marriage, our family, our house, right? Like it's a double entendre, you know? And when people find the channel, they're like, oh, these guys are building their life together. I want to watch them. And we want to watch you guys build your life together. So we're all building it together. And people go, man, like, how do these people just get so lucky with their name? It just seems like it all kind of falls into place. And not us, but I'm saying other, you know, you look at bigger bloggers or vloggers or YouTubers or design build companies, landscapers, lawn care. Of course, like, you know, we kind of talk about everything because we do both. But like, it's intentional. It's thoughtful. And you're like, distinct outdoor living, how hard could it be? You're like, actually, bro, I got about 40 hours into that name and the logo and the colors, right? So
yeah, I mean, probably more. Yeah.
Do you want to weigh in on that? You got any thoughts that might relate to any of that? Because you're going through the thick of it.
Yeah. So it was I'm coming from, we used to be known as Noah's Landscapings, and I had the classic like little lawnmower clip art logo that we had online that you see 25 other companies, at least in our area, have.
Yep.
Typically you get someone's first name and then landscaping, or I'm sure you have Brian's Lawn Maintenance. So
yep.
Something like that, which if you're doing maintenance every week, there's nothing wrong with that. But I guess for us, I just didn't see myself doing that. I didn't want to be known as that guy. So coming up with something that just sets you apart from the others and kind of puts you in, I guess, that for me, that different group of contractors that does the more complete outdoor living packages compared to the guys who have 55 services listed on the side of the trailer that they do that are going around town. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I saw myself, because we're in a upper class area, I would say. So
sure,
we have people who have bigger budgets and they like nicer things. So catering to that group of people was something that I really found important, and not just kind of being the guy that rolls around with the truck that's got rust on it, and when it pulls up in the street, a portion of it falls off in the street, and they come out and the trailers, all the letters are falling off and everything. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're running a business and making a living, that's great, good for you. That's awesome. But I just wanted to be, I guess, that next level of contractor that doesn't mean I don't have a brand new truck. I don't have anything that's, I guess, brand spanking new and waxed and shiny, but just something that looks presentable,
right,
and presents your company name well. And to be honest with you, if having a brand new truck, I think there's nothing wrong with that, but maybe it even sets the customer's appearance as, oh, he's making too much. So
sure.
That's just something else, I guess, to consider when you get the brand spanking new shiny truck pulling up. But
there's always an element
that's
to that.
Presentable.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I think just kind of landing on something that just sets you apart and really giving it thought, and not, like you said, not being a 10-minute process that just came to me. Like, no, it's something that's thought through, that you have different options, and I asked a lot of different people's opinions on what they liked, and some disagreed and some agreed, and just to kind of gauge what other people who could possibly be end consumers of our services would think about it. Same thing with the logo. It's a whole nother process, just about kind of going back and forth and really coming up with something that sets you apart, and that when you see it eventually, now obviously no one's going to recognize it, but hopefully 5, 10, 20 years from now,
sure,
something that people can recognize and associate with my brand and myself and my guys.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, well said, man. I don't think I can add anything to that. I mean, just spend some time on it. Be intentional, like you said. If you guys want to read the chapter on the book, it's $20 to get the book on Amazon, guys. It's no big deal. But I would really encourage you to get it. If you're out there and you're like, holy cow, like, my name sucks, I need to change this. Like, dude, relax. Like, it's okay. You can go through a rebrand anytime you want. I don't care if you're in year 10. Like, you can, pivot and shift anytime you want. And if you're going to do this as a career, and you're going to be doing this for 20, 30, 40 years, and you're like, oh, I'm 5 years in the grand scheme of your career, you've been in business for about 5 minutes. Okay. So it's like, even if it's been 5 years, it's okay. Now, to be fair, this podcast is coming out March, April, like 2023. Maybe not the best time to rebrand. Okay. But start thinking, what do you want to do for spring, for 2024? Like, what are you going to do November through March, during the off season this next winter to put all your ducks in a row? Maybe set aside $2,500, $5,000. One quick thing that some people do overlook is hiring like a graphics designer, or like if you're building a home, it's, an interior designer person, and they give you like the color palette, the color schemes, like the feel, the warmth, the temperature. Like, there's a whole write-up. Usually it's like a 10 or 12 page document that an interior designer will build for you for interior colors, exterior colors, warmth. Like, what are we doing for the kitchen? I mean, we spent tens of thousands of dollars on this stuff for our new home because we just wanted to, quote unquote, get it right. And so many people out there go out there and they're like, well, I'm just going to go green and black, or gray and black, or white and, yellow, or red and yellow, or red and black, like whatever, pick your colors. And it's like, bro, was there any intentionality along the way? Like, and sometimes you stumble upon it and you get lucky and people go, dude, banger job. You're like, yeah, thanks, man. And then other times most of the time when you see somebody that's got a great designed, color scheme, logo, name, there was a lot of time behind it, like we were just talking about. Okay. So don't be afraid to hire a graphics designer, a real one, not your friend who just got out of college, no shade. Okay. He has no real life experience. Find somebody who's 30, 35, maybe find somebody on Upwork or Fiverr, somebody that can, maybe an interior design girl or guy, and they could, hey, I know this isn't like really your niche or your genre, but I'm looking to rebrand. I have a landscaping company. Would you have any interest in taking a crack at, what I'm trying to do? Sure. And like the font of your name and the style of it and the colors and all this stuff, like, it does matter. So again, you don't have to get lost in the weeds on this necessarily, but as we have on today's tail end of this podcast, but it is important stuff. And I just want you guys to, hey, if you want those higher end clients, if you want to brand your company different, real quick, Noah, this is a question I get a lot. People are like, hey, how do I compete against the $20 guy? Like the $25 Mo guy, he keeps taking my accounts. And I'm like, why are you competing with that guy? And people are like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, why is your business branded to be competing with? I don't have any of those problems or conversations. And I'm not a big shot. I'm telling you, I'm not a big shot. I'm not a big deal. Like, but when we're talking about bigger accounts or bigger clientele and the right kind of clientele that are going to stick with you long term and build a real partnership and a bigger, a real relationship with you, they're not typically shopping for price, not plus or minus $5 at least. Okay, so if you start getting those clienteles that are like, hey, the other guy will do it for 18 or 20 or 25 or 30, or the teenager kid, like, hey, dude, like, we're not even the right company for you, So, and that all starts with your marketing, your branding, your image, and what you guys are trying to put out there. Okay, so no, that's what I got, man. We're a little bit on a time crunch today. I gotta kind of land the plane here, but I'll give you the final thought, man. Anything else you want to add to that, or anything else you want to cover that's important to you, man? But if not, we'll butt it up.
Yeah, I guess just kind of reiterating what you said there. I mean, it's totally like if you're after that $20 account, I mean, like if that's what you value your business on, by all means, like if that's what your area calls for, then there's nothing wrong with that. But
Sure.
at least in our area, the $20 guys are there. They're always going to be there. To be honest with you, Brian, I lost, I think, 2 accounts to one of those guys this year.
We do too.
I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, personally with us, with our overhead and everything, we would make, I think I calculated it, it's like $3 per lawn if I took an account for $20.
Right.
Like,
yep.
At the end of the day, it's just not worth it. And it just boils down to the fact that you have to be able to not take it personally and just move on and realize that customer was probably never going to hire you for anything besides craft anyway. At least in my case, that's kind of what I've seen.
Yeah. That's
so
true.
I just kind of took that with a grain of salt and moved on and went on to the next one.
Yeah. We're not looking to get our customers to spend less money with us. I'm looking customers that want to spend more money with us. We were bidding an HOA. They gave me a budget. We're coming in around $25,000 for this whole thing. It's a decent little account. And, halfway through, he's like, hey, by the way, like we definitely need to redo the whole front landscaping. And I said, actually, I don't do a bunch with landscaping, but I've got a bunch of great guys local to me that do. Happy to sub it out or even just connect you with them and you guys can tackle all that. Like these guys want to spend another $5,000 to $10,000 on the front monument, sign and a boulevard and entrance of the HOA, right? Like that's what you're looking for, people that do want to spend money. And people are like, oh, business is tough and nobody's spending money. Like there's a recession maybe. Like that's not everybody, okay, folks? And you just work on your branding, working on your marketing, and you will find that this work comes out of the woodwork because there are middle class, upper middle class, rich, ultra rich people that are spending money. If the economy goes up or down 1 or 2%, they don't care. Okay, like they're still going to spend tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, on landscaping, housework, renovation, new construction. Not everybody's broke. Okay, so we like to think opulence. I like to think wealth. I like to think abundance, prosperity. There's a lot of work out there. So don't get stuck in this, man, nobody's spending any money and all I got is $20 cuts. Spend some time on you, the brand, and who you're marketing to, and I promise you all of that will change, okay? So Noah's a great example of that. He's kicking butt. Hey, where can people find you, man, if they want to connect with you on Instagram, Facebook? Are you on social media?
Yeah, so we are on Instagram at Distinct Outdoor Living. So all one word, Distinct Outdoor Living on Instagram. Started that about a month and a half ago after we rebranded. So got some posts up on there to go check out.
Sweet. Awesome, man. Well, great job. Well, cool. Well, that's all I got, man. Just want to say thanks again for taking time out of your busy morning. And I know you got a lot going on as well, family life. So I will let you go and we'll connect soon. But thanks again for hanging with me and Christian the other, last summer when we got breakfast. That was a great time. And continue to do everything that you're doing, man, with excellence. You guys have a lot of great things going on this spring and summer, man. So I hope you guys have just a beautiful spring rush, man. And best of luck to you, all right?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Take care.
You bet, man. All right, guys. Well, that's it for this episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget to hit that follow button in the top right where you guys can get new episodes downloaded to your phone Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And also, don't forget to leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. We'd love to read those reviews out loud on the show. So if you guys want to be a future guest, if you will, with us reading your review, we would totally invite you guys to do that and super appreciate it. All right. That's what I got for you guys on today's show. Thank you guys so much for listening. Noah, great job. And we will connect with you guys here on the next one.
When it comes to running a lawn and landscape business, there's always something to worry about. Are my drivers and crews doing their job? Are my clients happy? Are my trucks and machines safe? How can I make more money? Where can I save some money? With GPS Track It, you don't have to worry about it, because our software gives you a level of clarity and control over your business that you've never had. From real-time vehicle and asset tracking and optimized routing to efficiency reports and more, reach your fullest business potential. Call 866-845-1410 or visit gpstrackit.com/BrianLM to get started. That phone number and special link are in the show description. GPS Track It. Hi, I'm Mr. Producer, and one more thing. If you're looking to stay up to date with the latest trends and insights in the world of lawn care, then you need our free email newsletter. It's delivered 3 times a week and includes a Monday motivational to kick off your week, a Wednesday what's new to keep you informed, and a Friday weekly recap of all the content we put out. Join our mailing list to stay connected to the world of lawn care and get exclusive access to the latest and greatest from Fullerton Unfiltered and Brian's Lawn Maintenance. Don't miss out on this opportunity to stay ahead of the curve and elevate your lawn care game. Sign up now with the link we've provided in the show description.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.